Welcome to the first mailbag show or Q&A of this channel. I'm your host Dmitry, and today I'll be answering a bunch of your questions. This is how many questions I have extracted from various comments of yours to a number of my videos, and I have picked some of my favorite ones and the ones that are most recurring, the ones that keep popping up all the time, right? So that alone suggests to me that I probably need to have a separate video to talk to you about this and address all of these questions once and for all. Give me a like if this is something that you're interested in, and especially if you're one of my supporters. Love you guys and girls, and let's talk about it. Let's get started. Question number one, and again, this is something that these are my favorite questions, yeah, and some of those that are recurring frequently. So if you want to submit your question, please go right ahead and comment on any video. I read your questions, right? All right. So let me just pick at random at this kind of thing. So somebody asked me not long ago. Somebody said that they want to buy an MGHS or 2020 model, 2020, and they are wondering if I'm aware of any particular technical differences or electronic differences between the 2020 MGHS and 2022, the one that's for sale right now. My model of MGHS, the one that I covered kind of at length on this channel and I started this channel with, was 2021 model. So it was right smack bang in the middle of that date range. So short answer, as I replied to the person in the comments, and would like to let you know, in case you are some of those people who are interested, I don't know intricacies of the differences between the tech, but I cannot imagine it changing much, especially in Australia. So please keep in mind that everything I'm saying is talking about the MG fleet of Australia, not of India, not of Philippines, not of UK, okay, not of Middle East. So I don't know, but I doubt it. That is my answer to this question. Okay, so I think that you'll be getting roughly the same electronics and roughly the same tech for MG 2022. If it's just core MG, petrol MG, we're not talking EV. Yeah, we'll talk about EVs separately. I don't think you'll be getting much of a difference. I think it's about the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, speaking of MGHS, let's continue talking about this. Some of you sort of expressed interest in the comments to my videos. Do I regret, or what are my thoughts about exchanging MGHS for this LDV? I explained at length why I did it. I wanted more space for the family and for myself and for urban camping and for other kind of things, right? And the summer is only starting in Australia, so I'm only just about to start benefiting from that plan coming to fruition, right? So short answer is, even though LDV also has its shortfalls, and we will talk about shortfalls of Chinese cars next, is an answer to next question, I don't regret changing to this car. MGHS is richer, is more luxury, is more fit for purpose for, I suppose, the tight traffic of the city, because it's a bit smaller, not massively smaller, but a bit smaller, yeah. But at the same time, it has practically no boot, it has still fairly subpar electronics, and DCT, dual clutch transmission of MGHS, flat out sucks. It just sucks. For me personally, I absolutely hate it, okay? This car, electronics absolutely sucks. So it sucks in other areas, right? So electronics absolutely sucks in this one. But transmission is a classic normal automatic 6-speed transmission that works like a normal transmission supposed to work, and it doesn't annoy me that much. So just that alone makes me still prefer LDV D90. But in addition to that, what we do as a family occasionally, we just put the last row of seats down, which makes the already big boot massive. Like, it makes it ginormous. We put a rug there inside of the car. We reverse towards the water, for example, have some pizzas, have some beers occasionally, and have this mini camping without having to lay out a complete picnic on the ground, especially if it was raining recently. This car is fantastic for it. So I absolutely love it still for that. So no regrets. Now, on the balance of things that I've seen, on the balance of cars that I've reviewed, like, I looked at MGHS intimately, I looked at MG still, my wife still has it, it's parked just behind me there. I have this LDV D90, I drove now 2 different cars from Haval H6 and Haval Jolian, right? I am potentially looking to review Chery Australia if they come back to me and actually do invite me into their review of their new Armada 5 that's coming up soonish on our shores, presumably. Have no idea what they're doing there with that. Haven't had any subsequent conversations with them. So I would love for Chery and Armada 5 to surprise me in this regard, but I'm going to answer a question. What, in my opinion, is the weakest point of Chinese vehicles right now for sale? What is the weakest point? And there are 2 weakest points that I'm seeing prominently across all of these cars that I mentioned, aside from Armada 5, because I haven't had a look at it yet. Surprise me, Chery. Weakest point, electronics. Weaker processors, generally bad user experience as far as menus, as far as functions, core function hidden behind the menus and stuff like that. Bad connectivity to Bluetooth, just not usable screens, big screen that sells the car to you, like in this LDV-D90 where all these post-its are right now all glued on. Completely useless, especially for Android user. Maybe Apple CarPlay works in this car, I don't know, I don't have an Apple phone, but Android Auto through their weird around the world weird connection just doesn't work. I never use it. I put my phone here into a different bracket that you don't see right now. I just put my phone above this screen and that's how I use it. Electronics here absolutely sucks. General electronics is on the low side in Chinese cars as far as I'm concerned. And then we'll extend into general usability and accessibility of different functions that are available to the driver. LDV-D90 actually, funnily enough, is not horrible in that regard. Funnily enough, go figure, right? Namely, specifically, it has a mute button. It has straight away a mute button that allows me to turn off the annoying radio straight away when it starts blasting as soon as you turn on the car. Why, Chinese manufacturers? Why do you do this to us? Why do you do this to us? Turn off the radio. Turn off the bloody radio. Turn it off when the car starts. And I'm not being angry, I'm just trying to be heard across the sea. I'm shouting across the sea right now. Alright, jokes aside, this stupid radio that turns on in MGHS, in MGZST, in LDV, in Haval, I think as well, correct me if I'm wrong, straight away, and I cannot turn it off, and it cannot remember that I turned it off. I'm still raging about it. Ever since the first video was published on this channel. I still cannot bloody believe it, okay? It's horrible. Now, Haval, Jolian, at least, I'm not going to say H6 because I can't remember about H6, but I think so as well. Jolian, radio also comes on when you turn on the car, 99% sure. And it doesn't have a physical quick button to mute it. MG has it, LDV has it, Haval doesn't have it. Who does that kind of stuff? Who does that kind of stuff? And you have to go there into the screen and like click things. It's absolutely horrible. So it sounds like small things, right? Sounds like small things, but it's death by 1,000 cuts. These are the things that I think weigh you down a little bit, and they definitely stick out a little bit, and they make Chinese cars a bit subpar because those little things annoy you, and you notice them, and you're like, oh, it's not quite there where European cars are. Sure, mate. It's not quite there, but the rest of it is rather solid. So these are the weakest points of Chinese manufactured cars so far, okay? Now, lots of people, you would be surprised how many people ask this question ever since the first video was published on this channel. The first video remains the most popular video on this channel. 60,000 plus views, which for my tiny, minuscule channel is massive, right? Lots of people ask the same question or make a comment. Why does the steering wheel appear on the opposite side to them in that particular video? Why am I driving a left-hand drive vehicle while in Australia we are right-hand drive vehicles? Because it was the very first video I recorded in a standard camera app of my phone. Now I'm using a different app, yeah? Still the phone, but, you know, different camera app. And in that camera app, for some reason, it didn't mirror the image when I do a selfie camera like this, recording for you so that I can see myself and you can see me. It's as simple as that. I do not drive any particular weird vehicle, okay? It is just because that's how it was. Now, two side-by-side questions, one a good one and another one a bad one, let's call it. But the tough ones are coming up, so brace yourselves, my friends. But this is something that I mentioned I don't want to shy away from. So first comment was from a good kind of friend. I'm considering these people friends who are leaving very supportive, very nice comments on my videos and have been leaving them for a while. So this person says, you know how I sometimes put up this specific note and I say that, look, please pay attention. This video is not sponsored. It's just my opinion. I'm not an expert. Check the, the description for timeline and whatnot, like of the if you want to fast forward and all that kind of stuff. But I say that this video is not sponsored. I want to be very, very clear about this. No one promises me some freebies, right? And this person said to me, you don't need to say this, Dmitry, because we know you. We have listened to you for a long time. We know that you bang very hard. You hit them hard where they deserve it, and you praise them where they deserve it. I just wanted to emphasize that I don't want to only talk about bad or controversial stuff. I want to also celebrate people like that. Because people like that are why I'm making these videos. I started this channel as a mental health exercise. I started it because I wanted to talk to someone about what I'm passionate about. And it turned into a nice hobby. And now there are 2,000 of us. 2,000 subscribers plus. It's super exciting. It's crazy. I didn't expect that was gonna happen. But I'm really, really grateful. And I'm grateful for people like that, who say, you know what, Dmitry, the personality comes through, man. I appreciate that at least some of you see it, okay? And I want to emphasize that because I really, really am grateful for that. Off the back of that, there is a flip side of this coin. So there is a side of the coin where that nice person is and who sees it for what it is. And then there is another side of this coin. And this side of this coin sounds along the lines of, I'm not even going to quote necessarily the person because, in all honesty, they don't deserve airtime, my airtime. They can go and shout from the rooftops somewhere else. But this is my virtual space, okay? This person basically says, look, any promotion effectively, because I'm praising Chinese manufacturers for being the underdog on Australian market. I'm praising them for trying to bring in perhaps lower quality in some areas, but certainly worthy of that money and much better value for money vehicles. I'm praising them for it. And I'm hammering them, by the way, where they deserve it, on electronics, usability, other kind of stuff, right? Well, these people somehow are blind to it. They just see a guy promoting Chinese-made cars, and they say, some of them are like just blanket kind of statement, like, well, if you are driving Chinese cars or using Chinese products, you are supporting CCP, Communist Party of China. How stupid do you need to be to ask this question? Like, I'm sorry, you are offending me and I do not want to offend you back because I would like to, maintain a certain class here on this channel. But I would like to ask a question. It's not a statement. I'm not telling a person, I'm not labeling a person. I'm asking a question. How stupid do you need to be to throw something like this at someone who clearly just talks about their own experience? They bought this car for their own cash, okay? Their own cash. How am I supporting a Chinese Communist Party if I'm consuming a product that simply is there for sale? And I would like to also very quickly, before you try to answer that question, by the way, feel free to jump into the comments and put your thoughts there. Just be respectful, okay? Because I said to you, this is my virtual house. Opinions are welcome, but this is not a public tribune. And if you are rude to me, I'm just going to block you. Goodbye. That's about it. That's all that we're going to achieve here. Absolutely. My heart didn't skip one bit doing it. Okay? So, what I try to also emphasize is the fact that people often who are those kind of throwing this kind of accusations of, oh, I'm promoting Chinese cars are rubbish, Chinese cars are support of Communist Party, whatever. I immediately would like to stop those people, and if I had them in person, I would have encouraged them to volunteer for a strip search. And I would have said, do you have an iPhone? Do you have any other phone? Do you have any TV at home? Do you have anything? And that's an exaggeration. Because, let's presume that they live in a forest lodge in the middle of Alabama, USA, and they buy only American, and they use a lumberjack's axe to chop wood and they do not consume Chinese products, basically. God bless. More power to you. Just stop spewing this venom and stupidity, okay, onto me and my viewers, to even suggest that someone who looks at what's for sale here, spends his own cash, tries the product, says this is rubbish, this is rubbish, this is rubbish, this is good, this is good, this is rubbish, this is good. That's what I do. How is that supposed to, how is it? It just inflames me a little bit, and I use this as a nice opportunity to be honest and be Dmitry with you. I'm not fake with you. I am honest with you. And that's what I'm telling you here. And beyond that, I'm never going to answer this question, this stupid question again. You ask this question, it shows your stupidity, goodbye. I don't judge, but it's not welcome here. Go somewhere else. It's alright. I don't care. Okay? So, I hope that I answered that question. Alright? I hope I was very, very clear. Now, slightly more tongue-in-cheek, funny, kind of let's keep talking. Who are Bogans, who I mentioned in one of the videos, and it is almost like a quiz now, like a trivia night. If you haven't seen that video where I mentioned Bogans briefly, well, watch some of my previous videos and you might find that spot. Basically, I made a reference to Bogans. Australia is full of Bogans, that's why, I'm not saying that that's why youths are very much high in demand, but it is, partially. Bogan is a slightly, it's slightly derogatory term, so I do apologize if someone chooses to be offended by it, but people use the word bogan left and right interchangeably. It's not a swear word, okay? But it is an Australian word. So if you are somewhere else in Philippines, somewhere else in India, perhaps you are not familiar with that term. What it refers to is generally someone who is kind of typically, I'm saying typically, born in the sticks somewhere, you know, is not particularly cultured, does not have the worldly view of the things, is slightly more narrow-minded, sometimes comes from the farmland environments and that kind of stuff, does not have to, but often is. And those people, they are opting into a specific dress code, into specific way of engaging with people, into specific language, and into specific cars. So, because a lot of them are engaged in their tradie professions and stuff like this, they often use a utility vehicle with a tray at the back to use it for their own recreation activities and as well as their work stuff. So that's who Bogans are. I'm not against Bogans. I often refer to myself as a Bogan sometimes. But when I was making that reference, it was specifically in reference to why Toyota Hilux and other utes are vastly, vastly, vastly more popular than anything else, like Chinese EVs and that kind of stuff. Okay? So that's who Bogans are. Love you, Bogans. Alright. Now, it feels like the video has gotten really, really long. If you like this video, please give me a like and talk to me in the comments down below, because I am not a mind reader and you need to talk to me in order for me to understand what content you particularly appreciate or what you have to say to me back about it. So if you like this video, this kind of mailbag thing, we can make it a more regular thing. And everything that didn't get addressed today, you saw how many other post-it notes, and these were only some that I extracted from the comments today, preparing for this video. But if you would like another one, we can continue talking. And there'll be probably more questions, which you are welcome to throw down in the comments right now as well to add to this part 2, possibly part 2. If, and it's an if I look on your response after publishing this video and the response is good and I feel like it's worth and fun for us to keep talking about this, then the second part of the video would have already been linked here in the top of the screen as a little card, kind of as they referred to as cards on YouTube. It shows as that little eye kind of thing. You click on it and you will get a link to that second part of the video. If not, it means that we either are still looking at it, it might be still too early to decide if we want the second part, or it just wasn't very popular and people couldn't care less. So yeah, I hope that's clear. Alright, I would like to wrap up today's segment by answering one final question. Are electric MGs worth it? In my humble opinion, looking at the market, not 3 months ago, not half a year ago, but right now, just preparing for this video. So, somebody engaged with me kind of and asked the question. They are overseas, so their prices are a bit different. Probably the fleet is a bit different there. So I'm going to talk only from Australian perspective and my humble opinion of a non-Chinese SHILL. Yeah, I love that. All right, so currently MG sells MG HS model plus EV, so basically EV version of MG HS. Top of the range Essence we're talking. We're not talking bottom of the range. We're talking top of the range always. We're talking Essence. So the Essence starts from 51,000 Australian dollars. 51,000. Normal petrol HS Essence, not all-wheel drive. Also, we're trying to compare apples to apples as far as your user experience is concerned, like driver's experience is concerned. Normal MG HS Essence is at least advertised on the website, subject to your negotiation and obviously with the dealer, is advertised for about 40k. 40,000 Australian dollars. So that is 11,000 cheaper. Straight up 11,000 cheaper in the pocket. Another type of vehicle is ZS EV. It's kind of like my wife's ZST, yeah? It's a slightly smaller, pretends to be an SUV, but I think it's more like a car. It feels like a car, okay? So ZS EV in Australia right now is advertised for $49,000. Starts from $49,000 in top of the range Essence model. Again, not very much different from HS, very close in the pricing. Expensive, in my opinion, very expensive. ZST, my wife's ZST petrol, as well Essence, also top of the range, is advertised for $34,000. 34. We have almost $15,000 difference there. So with HS, we have about, what was that? About $11,000 difference, roughly, subject to negotiation. And with ZST, the gap is 15 grand. Now, when people talk about, well, first of all, why are you getting as an EV? Ask yourself, why? There are two reasons typically. Two reasons. First reason is people feel like they're helping the environment. And second reason is people feel like they are going to be saving in the long term on petrol. And maybe some of the maintenance costs, because some people are deluded to think that EVs do not need maintenance. That's a lie. Okay. I am not an expert. I'm not an engineer. There are wonderful channels which will pop up immediately as soon as you start looking for them. I'm not even going to advertise any. But in my humble opinion, EVs are not worth it in Australia. Very simple. They are not. In other countries, Europe, whatever, I'm not commenting on that. I spoke to someone in the comments who is in Belgium, and they have a very different infrastructure that supports the cars on the road. Every imaginable 7-Eleven and petrol station there has apparently a charging station, and they work. Well, according to very, very respectable and people who I really much like, who are very much into professionally reviewing cars and looking at EVs, our infrastructure, at least in Sydney, Australia, is atrocious. So you are paying more for the car, and it only makes sense if you're planning to make short enough trips that where you come back home, where you loop back home every single time. But if your trip is from somewhere to somewhere really far, like from, I don't know, Sydney to Canberra, or from Sydney to Gold Coast, then you have to plan your trip very, 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 very carefully to make sure that you don't run out of juice. Because these cars, as opposed to popular belief, are not very long range. You turn on aircon, you tow something, God forbid, other kind of conditions change a little bit, right? And your battery goes very fast and you cannot recharge very easily. So that is the biggest thing, that is the biggest reason, more than the price. That is the biggest reason why I would say that in 2022, in Australia, it is absolutely not worth it getting an EV. Do not buy into this craze. Do not. And when people also talk about saving on petrol with EVs, well, check your facts. And I'm not going to make the video even longer or speculate and kind of refer to the facts presented by other people. There are other very, very good channels that are doing that. But take a look at how much you're saving and think about how long will it take you to actually pay yourself back that difference in the price that you just paid. 15 grand on top in one case and 11 grand in another case. So I do think that it will be roughly, you will save not as much as you think you will. you know. And it's also, like I said, it's an illusion that there is no repair cost, there is no maintenance cost. There is a maintenance cost, there are repair costs, there is other kind of stuff that comes with owning of an electric vehicle, from the research that I've done. Alright, my friends, so I'm going to wrap up here. It's already a very long video. Props to you, you're awesome. You are awesome, the best person, if you have been sitting through the whole video. That's a pretty damn long video to sit through and listening to me rant to you, but I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for your attention. Give the video a like, it always helps. Tells me that you like it, tells me to do more of this kind of stuff. And next time, if we talk next time like this, there are several things that I want to talk to you about. First of all, someone provided insight into what owning a Tesla is like versus effectively owning an MG. So when we talk about issues of MG, they gave me a very nice list of the issues they had with Tesla, and I was like, wow. And we will talk about petrol next time. We will talk about also how I respond to comments, because I don't respond to some comments, and it's not just about me liking or disliking the comments. Some of you engage in long, lengthy conversations, and sometimes I can't keep up. So I'm going to give you a little bit more of a context next time around when we talk. So I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very much. I hope that lower points of this discussion resonated with you as much as the higher points of the discussion did, and I hope they didn't scare you away. Subscribe for more if you haven't already, and like the video, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.